Robert Rosenkrantz, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. Also present are County Commissioners John Gentle and Brian Smiley. As noted on the agenda, we will be conducting a public hearing to consider the adoption of rural land use policies number 2 and number 3 as part of the county's comprehensive plan update. After public comment has been heard and considered by the board will then determine whether to affirm the adoption of Resolution R-2023-08 and the adopted rural land use policies number 2 and 3, or to consider whether it will make changes to rural land use policies number 2 and 3. Before we start, I would like to provide an overview of the process and the expectations for this meeting. First, the board will be implementing certain rules regarding public testimony at the hearing. Those rules are as follows. Public input will only be heard one individual at a time. Each speaker will be given one opportunity to provide input. Please speak into the microphone so you can be heard by the board and others. We ask that all speakers give their name and addresses before providing testimony. Comments should be relevant to the proposed rural land use policies being considered by the board this afternoon. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. If there are a large number of speakers, including many who are part of groups or organizations, we ask for a representative to speak on behalf of the organization or group. Please be courteous and don't engage in unruly behavior. Does everyone present and online understand these rules? If not, please speak up or raise your hand. All right, we're next going to Phyllis Kardos. Phyllis, please.
All right, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. And I'm representing Responsible Growth, Northeast Washington. I did submit a letter. As noted in the public notice, you could submit letters. I don't know if you've seen that yet. And pretty much have stated in that letter some of my concerns or thoughts. And what I didn't put in there is, and when you're looking at that matrix that Greg showed you, there are no dates on that matrix. And so when some of these there's a date at the top that kept changing as they upgraded the matrix. FutureWise's comments and suggestions, recommendations to the comp plan were made. They were one of the last ones made on that matrix. And it was made at a very late date. And the planning board did not see that letter until we sent that letter to them. And so they came in late. But what occurred, and this is where the public period should have come in on this, is the comp plan was adopted without that being added, without that number 22 being added, the FutureWise comment. Responsible Growth would have been really pleased to have added and be heard at a public comment period about those FutureWise comments. And we were not, and that's what this whole thing was about. Transparency, communication. It's what the Pend Oreille County Board has been talking about the last several weeks. It's transparency, public involvement. We just felt that we didn't get an opportunity to comment on the FutureWise comments. We may have totally approved of those comments, obviously. And there were more that FutureWise presented that we may have also encouraged the Planning Commission to put into the comp plan. So we really did want an opportunity to speak to those comments, and we were denied that. And the GM board agreed with us that we were denied that opportunity. And so basically, if you just read our letter, I'm not sure what this hearing is about, to tell you the truth, because I don't see how it's being rectified. How are we going to make sure, how is the county going to make sure that the public is provided every opportunity to be heard on these? That's what it's all about, is letting the public be heard. So I would like to just restate my last paragraph on that in my letter, RG newsletter. We would like to add that public participation is essential for a healthy community and democracy. It permits citizens to interject their values, whether it's the environment, jobs, economic growth, or etc., into the overall theme. Allowing public participation to the fullest creates a circle of trust, confidence in what our local government is doing, and it builds rather than breaks down community. It allows those who may never be heard a voice, the platform to speak. That's generally our only opportunity to speak, is at these public hearings, other than a short 1 or 2 minutes somewhere. And when we're denied that, we certainly have an obligation to point that out and to, because I really think that right now, today, the Board of Commissioners is really trying hard to make sure the transparency is there. It's not always been the case. And whether something like this is done intentionally or not intentionally, it still is a violation of the public's right to know and the public's right to speak. And with that said, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Phyllis.